Hello, writers. Come right with me. My name is Mykela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my channel, Write with Mykela. I'm very glad to have you join me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Today, we're going to discuss a few terms or ideas, and then we will add to your story with a setting. Did I do that one too? No, I have not done that one. The terms we're looking at today are serendipity and austerity. Serendipity means the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. In other words, serendipity is the fortune finding of something desirable or valuable that one was not seeking. It's a happy accident or stroke of luck, and it involves a mix of being open to unexpected opportunities, paying attention to your surroundings, and sometimes a bit of luck in the mix. Some synonyms are chance, happy chance, accident, fluke, luck, good fortune, fortuity, providence, or coincidence. How can we use this in our stories? Well, Snow Dogs comes to mind. Now, I may not be remembering the movie exactly correctly, but I remember like a big snowstorm was coming in. The main character was already on the, it's not the Indian 500, whatever it is in the snow dog sledding thing. It's a big snow sled. Lots of people participate in it. And a big storm came in. And the main character, who was not from the area, this is his first time dog sledding. He was dog sledding for the first time in his life over this unknown terrain in this unknown thing. And he found a cave to hunker down in. That was serendipity. That was good luck. He was not looking for the cave. He didn't even know to think or plan for the blizzard, because he's not used to this. This movie was a comedy, but it did have some serious parts. Another example is the original Willy Wonka movie, where the boy found the ticket to go into the candy factory, and then he won the ownership of it, or something to that effect. Like I said, my memory may be off a little bit, but he couldn't afford to find the ticket, and he found one on the ground, so he got to go. And when he found the ticket, he was not looking for anything more than that tour of the candy factory. That was just like, oh, candy factory. Oh, it's a tour. I get to see everything. I get to see how my favorite candies are made. He was not looking to own the candy factory. Okay. In Escape to Witch Mountain, the original movie, if there is more than one, I'm not really sure. The children thought they broke a box or a lunch box, and instead they uncovered a map to Witch Mountain. In real life, and that was serendipity, because they didn't know they were put on this world for anything other than just where they were in life. And so they uncovered the map and went on their escapade, right? In real life, when my sister and I were much younger, she wanted to ride on the buggy. And it was one of those store buggies where the buggy was up high and she could sit on the bottom. So she got on the bottom and I was pushing. Well, serendipity came into play when she found a $20 bill on the store floor, and Mom let her keep all of it. I thought I deserved half since I was pushing the buggy, but no, that didn't fly. Now let me put this into perspective for you. At the time of that $20, we each got 25 cents a week for allowance. So So that was 80 weeks worth of allowance for my sister. We did chores. We got allowance. We got, feed the cat, put away the dishes, set the table, sweep the floor, whatever. We had some chores to do. It wasn't strenuous or anything, but we got 25 cents every week for that. And so that was 80 weeks worth of allowance. I think she should have split it. Of course, now it doesn't matter because, we each have our own thing and stuff. But at the time, I was like, no. I was saving my money up to buy a doll at that point. And that $10 would have really helped me to get that doll. Anyway, I eventually got the doll and stuff. So now, all of our stories are not good guy, bad guy. Not all of our stories are serious. But all of our stories can have a fortuitous finding of something that helps or benefits our characters. It could be a genie's lamp, if you will. We could add a twist. Some such fortuitous findings might actually have a negative side. Now, we mentioned the genie lamp. Think of Aladdin. In the end, Aladdin tricked him, the main antagonist. I don't remember his name. Jafar. That's what. Aladdin tricked Jafar and told him that the most powerful person he knew was the genie, because Jafar wanted to be the most powerful. So Jafar took the lamp and wished to become the genie. And his wish trapped him in the lamp. His greatest wish was the worst thing for him. And the lamp was certainly serendipity for Aladdin, as was the magic carpet. So leave a comment on a show, book, or movie that has serendipity, or leave a comment on some serendipity in your own life or your sibling's life. Remember, serendipity is by chance. This is not Indiana Jones finding the Holy Grail, because Indiana was seeking it. Now, it's something serendipitous might happen along the way, but finding the Holy Grail was what he was doing. He had the maps, and he was seeking it, or he had the information about where to go. But he was seeking it. He knew somewhat how to find it, where to go. So that was not serendipity. Serendipity is by chance. Our next term is austerity. Austerity means sternness or severity of manner or attitude. The second definition is extreme. Sorry, the computer is not working with me today. Second definition is extreme plainness and simplicity of style or appearance. A third definition are conditions characterized by severity, sternness, or asceticism. There is a fourth definition involving the government cutting spending or reducing debt, but I'm ignoring that one. Although you can look it up and use it in your story. You're not limited to what I give you here on this channel by any means. Okay, synonyms for the first definition are sternness, severity, strictness, grimness, seriousness, somberness, graveness, gravity, somberness, stiffness, and a few more. And I guess I should point out that we have the NESS is a suffix. So that means it goes on the back of the word, and I think it changes the words to a noun. I could be wrong. I'd have to look that up. But you saw sternness, strictness, grimness, seriousness. So that ness is and the word just went out of my head. Suffix. There we go. Suffix. I am not with it today, apparently. Okay. An antonym of this term is cheerfulness. In the 1995 movie A Little Princess, the headmistress ran the boarding school with austerity. She was very strict in what she allowed, and that actually ended up being her downfall, the strictness. In MASH, Colonel Potter led with more austerity than Lieutenant Colonel Blake had led. And it took everyone a while to get used to the new strictness. They were used to Colonel Blake just doing, kind of turn it. He wanted to go fishing. He wanted to do his own thing. Yeah, Colonel Blake did do some surgeries and stuff like that, but he wasn't so much into ruling camp. So you kind of get the feeling for that. So leave a comment on a show, book, or movie that has austerity or is very strict, and tell a little bit more about that strictness. I'm sure you could come up with some movies like with either law enforcement or the army or with detectives, where they have a strict regimen that they have to follow. Regimen is our term next week. The second definition talks about our setting. If our setting is very plain or simple, or part of the setting is that way, that is another way to use austerity. Now, think of Harry Potter. Sometimes the Muggle world was plainer or had more austerity than the rich world of the witching community. Because when they were going down where they could shop and stuff in the witching, they were just awed with all the things. And it was just so amazing, especially to the characters, So, another one would be Little House on the Prairie. Laura Ingalls' family lived in austerity. Lived in like a one-room cabin with a hayloft, and as compared to the Olsen family, they had much. They were more wealthier than the Laura Ingalls. We mentioned Aladdin earlier. Aladdin lived in austerity before finding the lamp, as compared with Jasmine, the princess who lived in the palace. So leave a comment on a setting in a show, book, or movie where there was austerity. Now, let's turn to our writings. Pull out your story with a setting. We don't have a shared plot for this one. We're just going to pull it out and continue from wherever we left off. For reference, we started this in season 3.1, episode 17, and then we continue. So if you check the description below and hit the more, it will list all the episodes, and it will have the original setting where we started, and you can screenshot that. And you're welcome to start today. That would be awesome. If you haven't started, start today. Of course, all works shared on the channel are copyright protected, so that's more reason to send it in, because that is your proof that your writings are yours when I read it to my readers and I give you credit. Send in your writings to writewithmykela@gmail.com. Now, pause the video. Write a scene or a page, or at least 500 words, or whatever goal you have. If you want to do 700 words, write 700. If you want to do 1,200, write 1,200. Meet your goal. And then come back here, and I will read what I wrote. Okay. Welcome back, writers. Let me read what I wrote. Gahira awoke, and it seemed dark outside. She was instantly fully awake. She was supposed to go to the small town with the warlocks. She got up, But then she reached out to a nearby dresser to steady herself. She felt very dizzy. As the dizziness passed, she saw all the extra adornments on the dresser. Of course, the amulet was still around her neck. She slipped on the armbands, but she slipped the cloth belt and the crown in the top drawer. She wasn't ready to wear those yet. Then she left the room. In the living room, she saw Hamley. Hamley looked up from reading. "Ah, you are awake. How do you feel?" "I was a little dizzy when I got up, but I'm better now. We have to get to the town," replied Kahira. "Not so fast," replied Hamley. "I have some herbs for you. You used a lot of magic, but the spell worked, and the werewolves are with the warlocks." "What about Enora and my sister Callista? Where are they?" asked Kahira. "They went to the town," stated Hamley. He got up and went to a trunk on the floor to the side of the room. He went through it for several minutes and pulled out a few things. "Let me mix you up some herbs with a few drops of bergamot, and you should be fine. Then we can fly on some brooms to the town." Kahira almost exclaimed about flying on a broom, but she quickly closed her mouth. Kahira wasn't accustomed to drinking potions, but she drank what Hamley offered her. She felt like her whole body caught on fire, and she felt nauseous, but the feeling quickly passed. Soon they were outside with a broom each, and Hamley was telling her the spell to say to ride the broom or make the broom fly. It didn't take long to fly to the town, but looking down at all the commotion disturbed her. Before they landed, Hamley was telling her a spell to say to conceal her identity. Kahira told herself she had to remember the spell, so she repeated it several times to herself. And then she landed, and she immediately saw hive members attacking her sister. Enora was helping her sister, but there were too many. Kahira ran over and started helping the other two women. Thankfully, the town had plenty of lights for them to see with, but that also enabled all the camera crews to easily film everything. The warlocks were doing well with their axes, and the werewolves were tearing some zombies apart, while masses of zombies overwhelmed others. It was too hard to isolate zombies, and it was hard to fight masses of them, even when the warlocks and werewolves worked together in larger groups. Kahira wondered why they needed her. An image of her grandmother appeared and told her a spell to say. Kahira didn't know what the spell did, but she hoped it would help protect herself, her sister, and Enora. She started the words, and the wind started swirling around the entire town. All the camera crews were having trouble standing against the wind. Dust swirled up. Purple clouds swirled in. Buildings creaked and roofs flapped. Kahira wanted to stop. She trusted her grandmother, but her grandmother was dead, so she didn't trust that she was seeing her grandmother's spirit. Kahira heard in her mind, "It is me, dear. Trust and say the spell." Kahira continued, and green clouds swirled in and intertwined with the purple ones. Trees bent, cars rocked. Pink clouds covered the whole town, and then lightning zigzagged around in the pink clouds. Light burst out of the pink and hit everyone. The zombies screeched out in pain and collapsed to the ground. The purple and green clouds swirled around all the zombies and then swept up to the pink clouds above. All the wind gathered up to the cloud, and then the cloud expanded into a giant flare that radiated out. All became quiet. Camera crews inspected their damaged cameras and hoped they could salvage something. The werewolves looked like men for the most part, and there were a few women too. The warlocks also looked like local hunters. The zombies were no longer zombies, but very weak and malnourished people whose skin looked very sunburned or like it had a very bad rash. The warlocks ran to the local hospital to get the people some help. And Nora grabbed Kahira and Callista and ushered them to a waiting car. Shouldn't we help? Asked Kahira. No, replied Nora. The zombies won't remember who they are or what just happened. But the vampires can read minds and see what they saw, what they see now. Kahira didn't protest any further, and she and Callista got in the car with Nora. Soon, Tom Scott and his wife also jumped in, and they drove off. Okay, writers, that's all that I'm adding today. That was over 750 words. So it's over the 500. It's under the 1,000. 750 words. Leave a comment on if you wanted the zombies cured or if you think they should have just died. And you can think about, like, I Am Legend. That movie, they had zombies in that. Would you want, think about those zombies. Would you want those to be cured? Or would you want them to die? And Will Smith was working on a cure. I don't remember his name in that movie. He was working on a cure. So, do you want the zombies to be cured? Or do you want them just to die? Go away. Don't want to deal with you. Or, here's another thought. Leave a comment on if you think even if they've been cured, would it be much easier to make them a zombie? Leave a comment on if you think the people that were zombies, well, I just said that, can heal now. From their malnourished state. So they're no longer zombies. They were zombies, but can they heal now from their malnourished state and their sunburnness? Or they're just going to be very weak, and maybe they're just very weak, and the vampires can come and read their minds, and so maybe it would be good not to have them around. But that you have to comment on that. Leave a comment on if you have ever seen a vision of one of your ancestors, either in a dream or if you were a medium. Leave a comment on what you would want to be in this story. If you were in this story, would you want to be a warlock, a werewolf, a witch, a vampire, a zombie, just normal and not powerful? Leave a comment. Join me Friday for Eleni's Pride, Gaining Freedom, Chapter 26. Join me Tuesday for some more jargon. Leave a comment on a term you would have me discuss, or your favorite term so far, or a term that you've used. Maybe it's not your favorite, but, oh, I use this term. It really helps me out. It really keeps me going. There are so many words, so many ideas. Also, leave a comment on if you have an idea for a writing prompt. All those things you leave in the comments as well. And keep the comments respectful because, I read books, I watch movies, I've had my life. I have my perspective. You've watched movies, you've read books, and they may or may not be the same ones I've read. It gives you your perspective, plus the family that you grew up in and the friends and the neighbors. And all that helps shape us. So just because I don't agree with your perspective doesn't mean your perspective is wrong. It just might mean that I can't see it yet. And that would make it, I have to be open to looking at things from your point of view. And that helps me with my writing when I look at everything. So keep the comments respectful and try to incorporate somebody else's perspective in your writing. Don't forget to visit my website by Mykela.com, read some character bios, send your writings and chapters to writewithmykela@gmail.com. Leave comments on your favorite characters. If you hit the like and subscribe and the bell, then other people will have a higher chance of finding this video. We will continue to write together, and your likes will push the video out to a greater audience. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, then please share it with them. This is Mykela with Write with Mykela. Bye for now.